We have been seeing about the various problems that are encountered by the patient who is under palliative care, who lives in a hospice or in a respite or in a palliative care center. We have seen several psychological problems that are associated with various illness and it occurs in the patients who are terminally ill. Existential distress, spirituality and existential distress is another problem that is faced by the patient who is undertaking palliative care. In this segment, we will discuss about spirituality and the existential distress. We should also be discussing about the care that is required by the family members of the patient who is undertaking palliative care. Spiritual and existential distress. What is spirituality? Every human being, whether they are religious or not, they possess spirituality. Religiousness is different and spirituality is different. Religion is not same as spirituality. Spirituality is their faith, their belief is the spirituality. Spirituality encompasses the purpose and meaning of an individual's existence. So, how they value their life, how they value their existence is called as spirituality. And this spirituality involves the relationships, the type of relationship they have with their family, with their neighbors, with the society, and not alone the relationship with the family members or the society. It also depends upon their perceptions. Their perceptions, perception means how they understand, how they perceive things, how they perceive the individual, how they assess the things or individuals of the people and also the things that are present and also the events that happen around them. So how they perceive about the various things that happen in their life or about the people who are in their life or about the things that are around them, that all these will all this will contribute to their spirituality, and it is unique for every individual. So the perceptions, the beliefs, the faith that one individual has will be different from another individual, and therefore it is unique to each person. It is founded in the cultural, religious, and family tradition. So the belief mechanism or the faith they have, it is usually grounded or it is anchored in the culture of the individual, the culture in which they live. And it is also based upon the religion, whether they are Hindu or Jain or Christian or Muslim or whatever. And it also depends upon the family tradition. So every family has a tradition. They have a set of system. They have a set of beliefs, rituals, right? So it also depends upon the family tradition and it is modified by the life experiences. So the spirituality of any individual is modified by their life experience. That is the experiences which they have come across will have a great impact on the spirituality of the individual. It is the basis for an individual's attitude, values, beliefs, and action. So this concept of spirituality is the fundamental. It is the basic for the individual's attitude. So what is the attitude of the person? The attitude of the person is how they portray themselves, how they talk, how they react, how they help others, or how they talk, everything, right? So that is the attitude of the person and their values. So what are values? All the good things that a person has, a human being is expected to have is called as the values and the beliefs, right? So every individual has certain beliefs. So the belief system and their actions. And for people with religious faith, Spirituality is usually encompassed within the religion. So spirituality and religion, they are different, we told. And if a person is has religious faith, then their spirituality is usually centered around the religion. But spirituality and religion are not the same things. What is spiritual or existential distress? So, where is the crisis of spirituality or existential? Existential means existential is அவங்களுடைய their being alive, or they being existent in the society is the existential distress. Questions pertaining to spiritual and existential issues arise as a result of any life event. So the life event can be a mishap, it can be a crisis, it can be a failure, it can be a financial problem, a loss, it can be anything. But it usually occurs in response to a terminal illness. So when they know that there is no cure for the illness, and when they know that they are going to die within a couple of weeks or a few months, then this question of the spiritual or the existential distress occurs in the individual. Spiritual and existential problems are an important source of clinical suffering. So, this adds to the problem of their already existing problem. Already they have a disease, as a result of which they have various symptoms and pain associated with that, and also several psychological problems associated with that disease. And along with that, if they have the spiritual or existential distress, it will add to their problem, it will add to their pain, it will add to their distress. They may cause or aggravate pain. So, if a person has this spiritual or existential distress, it will increase the pain in the individual, and it will also increase the psychosocial problems. We have studied about various problems like depression, anxiety. So all these psychosocial problems also will be aggravated because of the spiritual or the existential distress. They can cause an anguish all in their own, right? So it can cause a kind of anxiety in the patient. Recognition and successful management of spiritual and existential problem is an important part of the palliative care. So the palliative care providers, the volunteers, the physicians, the team that takes care of the patient should identify that the patient has this problem of spiritual or the existential distress, and they should try to eliminate that from the patient. Spiritual and existential problems encountered by the terminally ill can be broadly grouped into different types. So, those that are related to the past, how the patient sees their life, whether their life was a success or a failure, whether they had accomplished something, whether they have reached their goal. So, all these. And the type of work they have done, were they successful, were they satisfied, relationship, how fruitful was the relationship with their spouse, with their children, with their in laws, with their neighbors, with their friends, and their achievements. Did they achieve what they thought they would achieve? Did they receive certain recognition, awards, and their failures? So it all depends upon the how they had traveled in their life and value and meaning of a person's life. So did they actually were they valued? Were they understood? Were they recognized? And did they mean something to a person? Worth of relationships. Were their relationship relished? Did somebody enjoy the relationship? Or were they always told that they were not fit to have a relationship? Where they always animosity between the individuals, and the effect of failed relationship. So if they have had a failed relationship, so that also will affect the person now. For example, if somebody has divorced and if they are leading a life as a single, then now they would realize that they could have managed, or they could have made some adjustments, and they would have lived with their spouse so that now they need not be left alone. Value of previous achievements. So, what kind of achievements they had, or sense of not achieving anything? Did they feel that they had accomplished something, they had reached a certain height, or do they feel that they were a failure? Painful memories, the painful memories that they had experienced in the past, when they think about that, the painful memories. And also shame, right, where they did they feel shameful for some act or for some thing that they had done in their life, guilt about the failures. So if they have met with failures in something, or unfulfilled aspirations. Unfulfilled aspirations are those they have not achieved at all. They thought they should do something or go somewhere, and but they were not able to go. So, all these could affect the patient who is taking palliative care. So, these are certain experiences of the past that are related to spiritual and existential problems. Those that are related to the present, disruption of the personal integrity. So all of us have a personal integrity. We have our own rules, our own restrictions, our own do's and don'ts, right? And we don't come out of that. So there, when there is a disruption in the personal integrity of the person, so that relates to the present problem. Physical, psychological and social changes, increased dependency. They are not able to do even their own work. They're not able to eat or brush, or sometimes people may also have problems in their toilet, right? So, all these can cause problems. Meaning of a person's life, right? So, do they really lead a life that is fruitful, successful, meaningful, and the meaning of suffering, right? When the others are happy, why should they suffer, right? So all these can cause problems in the individual. Relating to the future, the impending separation. So now if they are at home and somebody is taking care of them at home, then they may not have any problem. But if they are in a hospital, if they have to be hospitalized for weeks or for months, they are separated. They are separated from the family members, separated from their home, from their pets, from everything which they were associated with. So that separation itself can cause problem to them. Hopelessness. They do not have they do not know whether they will come out of that particular illness. And meaninglessness. So, staying away, no attachment to life, being meaningless, and concerns about the death. So, anybody, whoever wants to die, they want to die a dignified death, right? So, now they have concerns surrounding their death, how their death will occur. And relating to religion, the strength of their faith. Many individuals, if they have a strong bonding, or if they have a strong anchor to their faith, their religion, they might be able to overcome their suffering, whether they have lived according to and not disgraced their faith, right? So they might now think whether they followed the religious preachings, the rituals, all these things they will think about now when they are suffering, when they are when they are taking palliative care, and existence of afterlife. So after the death, what would happen? So in the Hindu religion, we have the belief that the good go to the swargam and the bad they go to the naragam. And in the naragam, based upon the amount of sin they have committed, they have different grades of punishment. And when they go to swargam, they can be happy there. And also, what they would be born, the next janmam, what they are going to be born as. So, all these may cause concern to these individuals. And how actually does the spiritual or the existential distress manifest? How will it present itself? How do we know that this person has such problem? It is most often it will manifest as a physical or a psychological problem. Pain or other symptoms unresponsive to appropriate therapy should alert the clinician to the possibility of unrecognized spiritual or existential problems. The doctor, they diagnose the illness, the disease. They give medicines to treat the illness, not only to treat the illness but also for the symptom management, like for the relief of pain. So medicines are given to the patient, and even after taking the medicines for pain relief, if the patient does not have relief from the pain, then they should be alert. Whoever is taking care of the patient should be alert, and they should recognize that this person has some other problem. Apart from their physical problem, they have some other problem, and it might be the problem of spiritual or existential distress. The patient may remain sad, withdrawn, that is, they don't socialize, or they may be depressed when all physical and psychosocial suffering have been relieved. Even if they don't have pain, even if they don't have any psychological problem, if we find a patient who is very sad, withdrawn, and depressed, then we should know that they may have such problem. It is seldom expressed verbally. Nobody says that I have this problem, but because the patient is not asked about such problems, and we should actually ask the patient to talk it out. Only if they express, we would know that they have the problem of existence. There usually follows immense relief. If they talk it out and if we identify that the patient has the spiritual problem or the existential distress, then it is very easy that the patient can overcome that, and there will be a great relief to the patient. When asked about spiritual matters, most patients assume you are talking about religion. From the beginning, we are being seeing that the religion is not spirituality, right? And it is important to stress that at some time in life, everyone asks this existential question, right? It is not necessary that you should be in the deathbed to raise this question of existence. Everybody asks at some point of time. We ask this question: why do people suffer? Why do I suffer? Why did I get this disease? I have always been doing good to people. I've been good to people. I've been helping people around. I've been very, what do you say? I had been doing all my duties properly, correctly. I was a responsible individual, right? So then why should I suffer? Somebody else may be there who was not that religious, who was not doing that duty properly, but they may be hale and healthy. But this person, in spite of being good, in spite of doing all the duty, they may have a disease. So why should I suffer? Why should I? So this question may occur to us at some point of time in our life. Is there a God who cares? Right? So the first anger that comes will be over our God, right? So I did so much of puja, I was praying, I did that, I did this. Then why should I suffer, right? So our anger will be diverted towards the God whom we had the fullest faith. Is my illness because of what I did in my life? So that will be another question. Have I committed some crime? Have I done something bad? Did I hurt somebody? And am I suffering? And am I suffering because of all those things that I did that was not good to others? So all these questions will arise in the individual. And how do you deal with spiritual or existential distress? So the first thing that you should do is to reassure the patient, give them reassurance. Everyone has spiritual problems at some stage in their life. Everyone asks the same question: why this? Why should I? Why that? And everyone tries to find reasons for all that has happened in their life and is happening now. All of us. Even you may be a student, right, in the adolescent period, but still you will be thinking, why this happened to me, why that happened to her, all these things. And how do and dealing with the spiritual or existential distress, you have to regard the spiritual or the existential concern every bit as important as every other aspect of their care, and will be taken very seriously. Like we take care of their physical ailment, we also have to take care of the spiritual distress. That unlike other aspects of their suffering, there may not be answers to spiritual or existential questions. Do we have a answer for such distress? Why should I? Why should I get this disease? If somebody is going to ask, do we have an answer for that? We don't have answers for that. But ventilating some of the why questions can make the physical problems seem less. But ventilating means sharing, opening up, talking about that. So that is ventilation. So when you ventilate, when you discuss this, share your problems with others, then your physical problem may slightly reduce. And patients, they vary greatly in the desire to pursue spiritual and existential issues. Some will not discuss at all. Others just need the presence of a sympathetic person to listen, right? So they just want somebody to listen to them. It may be anything. They want to talk about their past or their present or their future. They want somebody who is very sympathetic, and they are caring about the person, and they just want to be heard, right? They want somebody to listen to them. Spiritual care is person centered and begins at the level of the patient's own insight. So, the spiritual care, it depends upon the patient, from where they have come, to which religion they belong to, in what culture they have come up, and what type of family. It all depends upon the person. Even the people of the same family, they don't have the same attitude, the same faith, or they don't have the set norms, right? Each individual's perspective will differ. Most people are helped by knowing that the questions and doubts that are troubling them are shared by many others. Right? When you just tell the patient that, on many of the patients have the similar questions, they are experiencing the same kind of emotion, they'll be relieved from whatever they are being troubled with.